Welcome to Mike's Harder After Hours. I'm Colton.
I'm Joe. And of course, we have Don, the filthy whore.
He actually showed up again.
And tonight, our special guest is actually here. This time, somebody actually made it. Garrett, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for introducing me. I'm Garrett. I'm 23 years old, pretty young here compared to the rest. I guess Colin's 26. But I work at Walmart, and I go to school for accounting, and that's about it.
How are you doing in school? Is it like a 4-year or 2-year?
Yeah, so I went to community college for my first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I ended up transferring to an actual university after I got my associates. So
Okay.
it's going good. It's going good.
What do you like to do when you're not dicking around the big blue box store? And
Well, I'm dating Don's daughter over here. So me and
son-in-law.
so you can't talk about what you like to do.
well, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm pretty sure I heard it all. So
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, she keeps me company. I keep her company. We tend to just chill out. You know, the holidays are coming up, so we're pretty busy there, just thinking about that. So.
Oh, you guys are working retail, so yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are probably busy.
Yeah.
Picking up a lot of extra hours.
Well, with me, I can a little bit with school,
Yeah.
but school kind of restricts that a little bit. Once winter break comes, though, yeah, I plan on working full time throughout there, and then
Is Walmart pretty good about working around your school schedule?
yeah, they're usually pretty good about it. It depends if you can get it in on time, but even then, the managers will try and work around it. So.
I've heard both sides. I've heard that like you can actually get scholarships through Walmart and they'll help you go to school.
Yeah,
and I've also heard that they try to force you to miss class to work. So
Yeah, I guess it all just depends on the manager that you have, whichever Walmart you work at, and then Walmart actually does have a university program, a schooling program, to where they'll, I guess, sponsor you or pay for you to go to school through that program.
are they hoping you're going to stay with the corporation or they don't care?
Oh, I doubt they care. That seems like the attitude there is they don't really value their workers that much. I mean, that's how I feel. So
Well, so do I. So it's
Yeah.
it's a shared feeling.
yeah.
So Don, what'd you do today?
I've been working on foundations for two more houses. So I finished that up today. That's about it.
What about you?
I don't really want to talk about my personal life the last couple days.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. I really don't.
For me, I built carburetors. I built carburetors, and then I built some more carburetors, and then I built some more carburetors.
Yeah?
And I still got carburetors to build.
Sounds like there's a lot of carbs that need done.
Yeah. I missed Monday. I had a freaking headache that wouldn't go away, so I stayed home all day. And I did something.
You just wanted to stay home and play with your pecker.
Dude, if I had been able to find it, I would have. My head hurt so freaking bad. I have not stayed in bed that long since I was probably in grade school. I went to bed at 7:30 and didn't get out of bed until 2 in the afternoon. I haven't done that in
Sounds like a Saturday for me.
Yeah. I'm old. I get up no matter what.
Oh, dude.
And I still got up Monday. I got up at 4:30, started having coffee, and I'm like, it's going to go away. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. 5:30 rolled around. I'm like, it ain't going away. Oh, I can't do it. Packed a lunch. I'm like, damn it. It ain't going away. So I finally had to call off. I couldn't do it. But got in there Tuesday morning. There was a buttload of shit that came in Monday. So it's been,
That's usually how that works.
yeah, it's been busy. It's been busy. So, Garrett, you're a special guest because you have I won't say opposing because that sounds like a conflict.
Yeah, bad connotation.
Yeah. you have a different view than, especially me, but most of the three of us, on politics. And we're today's Wednesday. We're 6 days away from presidential election. Well, other elections too, but presidential election. You support Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Can you give me a quick breakdown of what about her that you think would be good for us?
Yeah, I will. So, first of all, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I guess I'm an independent. But I also don't think Kamala, however you want to pronounce her name, I don't even think she's that good of a candidate. I just think Trump is a worse candidate. So that's my context for voting for her. And the reason why is because I like her economic policies compared to Trump's, even though the economy is overrated when it comes down to how much the president controls, because the Fed has a lot to do with it and Congress itself has a lot to do with it. But I like her position on tariffs isn't perfect because I don't like tariffs, and she is for tariffs a decent amount, just a lot less than Trump. Immigration with Trump, I just think mass deporting isn't a good policy at all. I mean, if you said more than mass deportation, maybe I would hear him out more, but I mean, she shifted to the right too on that border bill she said she'll pass. I mean, that was completely written by Republicans. And I just think more legal immigration needs to happen. I don't think that's going to happen on both sides, honestly. I think she shifted to the right so much on that because she's getting a lot of baggage. But I still think her immigration policy is a little better than Trump's in my eyes. And then economic policy and just the, I don't want to say like the vision, but just the impact that the president has on other parts of the government. So like the Supreme Court, if Trump gets in, then Clarence Thomas and I forget the other Republican who could retire in the Supreme Court. I forget his name, Alito Samuel maybe, something like that. But they're both in their mid-70s, and they're probably going to retire once Trump gets into office so he can replace them on the Supreme Court. And I think having, at that point, it would be guaranteed, almost guaranteed, unless, God forsaken, somebody dies on the Supreme Court, which I'm not calling for anything.
Right.
It would almost be guaranteed that the Republicans have control of the Supreme Court for probably 20-plus years, 30 years, just because he's obviously going to put somebody young in there. Two people if they both retire. So it's things like that, and we got to remember that when we vote for a president, we're not just voting for a president, we're voting for the whole executive branch, which is their cabinet, people that appoint, people that are in the three-letter agencies, as you guys call them, all those people. So I would say I more agree with what she has to say about that than Trump. But I do disagree with a good amount of what she says as well.
Well, I disagree with a lot of stuff that Trump says, does,
Dude, I wish we had a better third candidate.
I agree with that too.
And I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. I'm not a fan of Trump the person. Okay. Yeah. His personality's rough. He's gruff. I'm not a fanboy. But you mentioned a few things. You talk economic policy. You like hers versus his. And I'm just going to go through the list real quick, and then we go back to him.
Okay.
His versus hers, but you didn't mention what. And then you mentioned tariffs, that you're not a fan of tariffs. But this country ran without an income tax on tariffs. There was a committee that actually was put together to figure out how to spend this surplus of money, because we had so freaking much money.
Yeah.
The immigration policy. He calls it mass deportation because it gets his fan base riled up. You can't do mass deportation. It's got to be selective. Now, the guy that he's looking at to run that, I don't know if you saw this interview.
I haven't seen it. I probably haven't seen it. Yeah.
This interviewer asked, how can you not split up families if they're going to do mass deportation? And he said, well, that's easy. We just deport the whole family. anchor babies can't be deported, right?
Yeah.
That will take a law change. And that will take an act of Congress and a signature in order for that to work. Because if you're born in this country, you can't be deported.
Yeah.
So those are some things I'd like to focus on. Can we talk first about economic policy? What in her policy versus Trump's? Tell me where hers is better, and then tell me how his is bad at that axis, at that point.
All right. So with hers, I haven't seen Trump talk about this, but obviously housing is up a lot right now in many places in our nation. And her and Tim Walz has talked about this, how they want to supply 3 million houses, like build 3 million houses before the end of her term if she were to get elected.
Yep.
Which I haven't seen Trump say anything about that. And I am a capitalist. As a capitalist, I believe supply and demand, that's what runs markets.
Yeah.
So the more supply, houses are going to be cheaper. But also, a big thing with houses right now, and even just apartments, is that corporations are buying them out. And it's not families that are owning these houses, it's corporations that are buying these houses.
Yeah.
And they're buying all the supply from families, and they can just jack up the prices.
Yep.
Which I haven't seen Trump or J.D. Vance talk about that.
I haven't seen her talk about it either.
Tim, she's talked about the supply, the 3 million. I mean, she's talked about that. Not as much as I would like to. She focuses on other stuff like price gouging, which I disagree with that, unless it's in times of national emergency.
Right.
It is in her 82-page document on her website.
I'm sure it is,
Yeah.
but it's probably no, I'm not. Okay, I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do
not
it.
one of the
I
things
won't
that
say it.
she focuses on,
Right.
especially right now. I mean, right now, her campaign, I don't think her campaign has been good. Her campaign has been awful, in my opinion. She hasn't focused on the right things.
Okay.
And then in the vice presidential debate, Tim Walz, and they cut him off when he was saying this, but Tim Walz was actually talking about it, I think, when they were talking about housing, or why housing is up right now. And the moderators cut him and J.D. Vance off. I was like, no, let him go. I want to hear him talk more about this.
Can I interject here real quick?
Yeah.
When they talked about building all these houses, I don't know if you've ever been in a HUD house or government-funded. I don't want to call them projects.
Yeah.
But Section 8 housing, like there's a West Elm development it's government funded. I actually lived in it when I was 17. The build is below the quality of a mobile home. Every HUD house I've ever been in, yeah, they're built by the people that are buying it. They're built by the people in the neighborhood. But the quality, the materials are crap.
Yep.
And how much money did they spend to get internet to people that couldn't get it? And there's still nobody with internet. It's 80.
It was like, I think it was like 42 billion, 44 billion.
We'll go with that number. And there's still nobody with internet. How many houses are they going to build? And for how much money? You won't. The only reason they'll be affordable is because all your freaking neighbors paid for it, and they're going to sell it to you at a quarter of what it actually costs to build.
Yeah. So I guess your point is why.
It's government inefficiency.
Yeah, it would be government inefficiency, but at least, even if it was inefficient, as you say, I don't know her plan for materials. She said she's going to fund it through private corporations so they can build it.
The way to fund it through private corporations to build it would be to not tax as heavily on the people that build houses. The people that build houses would build more houses if there wasn't such a high tax on the materials, the labor, the income. Those people would build more houses if there wasn't such a high tax on them.
I could be for lower taxes on that. I'm not super high tax
Then we could take it away from the government. We could take it away from the government, and it would be affordable if we just let the private sector take care of it. If we decrease the amount of taxes on material, labor, and income, then the houses would be affordable, because the government's going to build a $60,000 house and it's going to cost $320,000, and then we're going to subsidize it as taxpayers. We already subsidize HUD housing. They pay 0 interest on a 30-year mortgage when they build one of those houses. They don't normally last 30 years. They've got so many freaking problems with those houses at year 20. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good.
But go ahead with your next point.
I guess. Well, I was going to say with the government inefficiency, I at least like her trying to say something about it when Trump hasn't mentioned it at all. When I feel like that's such a big problem right now. I mean, because of inflation, because of supply and demand, there's not enough supply. And your point with private corporations building the houses, private companies, private contractors, whoever builds the houses, that's not happening enough right now. And I think it is the job of the government to step in when there is a crisis. I think there is a housing crisis right now, to try and, I guess, make a surplus of housing, or at least increase the supply.
If the government were to step in and do anything in this situation, it should be to step in and go, we shouldn't build houses. We're the government. We should figure out why these people aren't building houses.
Yeah.
If it's a logistics situation where they can't get materials, let's figure out how to make that easier for them. If it's a payroll tax situation where they can't get people to build it, let's figure that out and decrease the payroll tax. If it's whatever it is, if government's going to figure out a situation and a solution, it should be that. It shouldn't be the government should build the house.
I agree. It should start from the foundation of the problem, I guess, whatever it may be, like just taxes in general. If there's too much tax and that's not allowing them to build the house, I agree. They should probably lower the taxes. I think a lot of it has to do with just a lot of zoning laws, red tape around building houses. And Kamala has talked about that as well. Again, she hasn't focused on it. I wish she would, but she at least has talked about it, unlike Trump.
I think the reason that Trump hasn't talked about it is because Trump is a real estate developer. He knows what's in his way. I doubt you watched the Rogan episode with him on there.
I listened to the first hour and a half, I would say.
So you got to where it became a bro show where they were talking about MMA?
Maybe not an hour and a half. I listened to it at work, so I don't know what time I stopped it.
Well,
it was around an
at
hour
some point during that episode, they talked about real estate and development. And he talked about the bureaucracy and the red tape and what a pain in the ass it is to build, especially commercially.
Yeah.
You have to environmental impact study and all that stuff, which I'm not against environmental impact study. But he talked about logistics, how hard it is to get materials and how hard it is to get labor. And he talked about all that stuff. So it's not that he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't make it a main focus necessarily. Do I think that it's in the frontal lobe? Yeah, I think it is, because I think that if he were to regain office, he's going to try to do what he can to allow the people who build houses to build houses rather than let the government do it. And that is, granted, that's an assumption of myself.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because he is a developer, he's going to try to do everything he can to open that up, because in 4 more years he'd be out and he'd be building buildings again.
Yeah, he's going to be super old then, so who knows what he's going to do. He's
going to be super rich. He might actually start making money again, because he lost money when he was in office.
Yeah, he lost a good amount.
Yeah. Do you have any more on that topic?
On housing, well, I guess it was economics in general, right?
Economics, yeah.
But, I mean, housing, super big thing for me. I mean, I'm young. I want to own a house one day. I
want you to own a house, too.
I want to live the American dream, so that's what I think about.
I want you to own a house,
daily,
too.
So that is a big thing for me. I guess on the economy, no, not really, because like I said, the Fed has so much to do with it. Congress has so much to do with it, even though Congress should have more power than they do right now. That's something that I also don't like with the government. Is
the Fed has way too much to do with it.
The Fed does have a lot of power. I agree.
I'm an end the Fed person.
I mean, I haven't looked at anything to see if the Fed is has had a good impact, a bad impact.
We don't actually
No
have
impact,
anything
but-
to back our currency. The only reason that a dollar bill holds value is because
Everybody uses it.
you want one and you have something that I want.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it holds value. I mean, we used to have a gold standard.
Yeah.
That's completely gone. And the Fed isn't even part of our government. It's a private bank.
I actually do like that, how it's a separate entity. So it's not partisan controlled.
I don't mind it being a separate entity, but I don't like the fact that they can just print money without anything to back it.
I do think there should be, there should be some restriction there.
We took enough gold out of Saudi Arabia. We should be able to back every green note that we have. This country has taken more than almost more than the Vatican at this point from other countries.
Gold or
just valuables.
just like oil and
We've
just
taken
anything valuable.
Yeah. So there should be something to back our dollar, and there isn't.
Yeah, I don't know that much about the gold standard, so I can't speak on that.
Okay, we'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, I don't.
I have a limited knowledge, but we'll leave that one alone. And tariffs. Can we go to tariffs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So tariffs, I don't like tariffs. I think throughout American history, tariffs have not been a good thing most of the time for Americans.
Except the part where we had more money than we could spend.
Well, but during that time, they actually called that the Great Depression. In that time, and before the Great Depression that we know of happened. And that, again, got worse because of a tariff bill, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which then started a trade war with other countries. I just think tariffs hurt us more than they benefit us, especially in a system right now where, 1890, we had no income tax in the 1890s. That's what Trump referred to on Rogan.
Yeah.
We had no income tax. Tariffs were the main thing, yes.
We didn't have an income tax till 1913.
Yeah. But our country is completely different now from pre-1913, 1890, even 20 years after 1913. We have a lot of
what happened?
Government is bigger. We would have to do something drastic to change that.
Couple of things. In 1913, it was supposed to only affect the top 1% income earners. And why did the government have to grow?
Well, the New Deal had a lot to do with it. The wars had a lot to do with it. I would say those three things: World War I, World War II, the New Deal, that all had a lot to do with it. 100%.
I wouldn't have minded a government that ballooned a little bit during wartime, but then skinnied back down, went on a low carb diet, and found their place.
That is what happened during World War II. I think the top marginal tax rate was at 95%. It was something insane like that. And then after after Eisenhower, I don't think Eisenhower lowered it, but JFK lowered it, and then after him, LBJ lowered it, I'm pretty sure, and it just kept getting lower and lower and lower.
I think LBJ just did it to try to get re-election.
Well, probably. He was very unpopular. So
yeah.
So I could see that. But it did get lowered after that. It got lowered under Trump too. So
yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But it did get lowered after World War II.
It did. Completely off topic. I firmly believe that feminism was a movement started by the United States government after World War II to keep women in the workforce so they could double their tax base. What are your feelings? What are your feelings on that?
That's interesting. I've never heard that.
Really?
I've never heard that. Yeah, I'm not in. I don't know if that would be considered a conspiracy theory. But
they started this serving your husband and your children. You're oppressed. Go to work so you can be oppressed by an employer.
Yeah, so you can pay. We have more people paying taxes.
Yeah. I really believe they doubled their tax base after World War. Rosie the Riveter, that whole thing. They got all these women to work during World War II and realized shit, if we can get them to stop making pies and start making cars, we can double our tax base.
Yeah, we're making a lot of money.
We're tax cows. I mean, we are. Every
Yeah.
one of us here is a tax cow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, what are your feelings on that?
I mean, I know you hate taxes, but I just don't think it's I don't think there's a realistic world we live in that taxes don't exist at all. I think, especially the income tax. I know Rogan asked Trump about the income tax and him potentially abolishing it and then just hiring our tariffs, increasing our tariffs. I just don't think that happens.
I don't think it'll happen either.
I don't see how, especially with how divided we are, that will not happen in the
With
next
the amount of
20
people
years
that
at most,
openly
or
claim
at
to
least.
be Marxist and communist, I don't see that we'll ever end taxes. I just see that we're all going to be on a government dole, and they're going to go, here's your fix.
Yeah, taxes will definitely be a thing. The only way it ends is if the U.S. ends, and there's another revolution somewhere.
Yeah.
That's really the only way it ends in the United States.
Either one of you got anything to add to this?
That guy does, though.
Yeah, Jesus.
Apparently he didn't have taxes.
Yeah, like what do you think, Don, about taxes? I know I hear Joe all the time talk about it, especially when I was listening to the podcast last night, a few days ago, just to see how this thing was going. But I don't know. I don't really know your view on taxes.
I hate taxes. I hate taxes.
I hate that I'm taxed at my check. I'm taxed at the pump. I'm taxed at the register.
I mean, you're taxed everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I pay my
Everything's
house
taxed.
off, I still have to pay fucking taxes.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if we just got taxed on our income and there was no tax when we purchased anything,
Yeah.
when we sold anything, when we acquired something without buying it, like inheriting it. It'd be one thing if there was just one tax and it was just on income.
I would rather it be on purchases. I really would. Just tax purchases.
Like just a sales tax.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is if they were to do that, sales tax would go up to probably 25% instead of 7.25%.
I don't buy a lot of shit.
I'll say that's kind of what I liked about living in Tennessee when I did, because there's no state tax or no
State income. Yeah.
Yeah.
Groceries are a little higher down there. I ain't gonna lie, they are. But I pay it. Got to eat,
Yeah.
you know. But I have to worry about a state income tax coming out of my check.
Yeah, but the
living in
state
Idaho.
income tax really isn't that much.
It's not, but
Like-
$60 a year, I'm saving.
It also
you know?
depends where you live too.
It's like a $1.10 a week, like the.
Living in Idaho.
Hey, a
there
dollar's
was,
a dollar, man.
there was no income tax on groceries, but they charged you for it at the register, and you got it back at the end of the year. It was like a forced savings account. It was.
Well, that's what I'm
strange.
saying. If we just had income tax and you didn't get taxed on anything else for anything, we'd end up saving money.
Then how high would our income tax be?
I'm saying if they kept it the same. If they kept income tax the
Our
same.
federal government is such a fucking vacuum void. They'd be like, we can't afford to fund everything.
It's the high limit room at the casino.
we can't afford to fund everything. So they would send $100 billion to Ukraine, and our roads would go to shit because our state is forced to send money to the federal government every year, and then beg for it in return to get our fucking roads.
I
fixed.
get that, but I'm just saying if we didn't have state income tax, it wouldn't affect us that much.
It would in other things. Because, like, down in Tennessee...
Well, like, groceries are higher, but like you
Well,
said, you
not
save
even- not only
$60
that.
a year.
Not only that.
I mean, it doesn't equate.
So, when I moved to Tennessee, I had an F-350. My plates for that truck was $100. My motorcycle, so you're going from a big vehicle down to something little, it's $100.
Well, that's more expensive than here, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At least
Well, that's
you
what I'm
didn't move to
saying.
Well, that's what
California.
he's saying. He's saying
Right, but that's what
other
I'm saying is
things
that
will
it's
go up.
worse off there without the state income tax than it is here with it.
Some things are a little better. Some things aren't.
But if you were to add up the things that weren't, it's probably going to outweigh the things that are. And it's going to be worse in the long run, is what I'm saying.
Could be. Yeah.
Like, just doing the math on it.
I don't like math, so I hate math.
Well,
Says the carpenter.
No, right? That's what everybody tells me.
he just uses the tape. He doesn't have to actually do the math.
I have a phone. It does the math for me.
Dude, if I saw somebody building my house and this motherfucker pulled out a phone to do it, we fucking pull out his calculator, I would immediately be like, get someone else to do it. I would immediately be like, no.
It's only a quarter inch off.
Yeah. Every time.
You mean 0.25. Engineer.
Whatever, chamfer. Fucker.
And you can get someone else to do it, but it's going to cost you a lot more.
I think that's one area where I wouldn't mind paying extra. Having my house built, yeah, I'll pay the extra and have it done better. Repairs are one thing, because like repairs, you can kind of fudge it a little bit, like going based off what's already there. But like the foundation of like building the house, I don't want to deal with that.
I hate all the red tape stuff with building a house.
Yeah.
Building codes, I hate. I understand some of them, but
Some of them are for safety. Some of them are just stupid.
yeah.
Some definitely need to be cut from
Oh,
what I
God,
understand.
yes.
I mean, I'm not in the house making business, but from what I understand.
One of these days when you're a homeowner and you want to make a home improvement and it involves getting a permit, you'll fully
yeah.
grasp.
You want to put a new roof on your house, you have to go get a permit
Yeah.
to do it.
Also, it depends on the township, district, wherever you live in.
Some places
I know.
are zoned, some places aren't
Yeah,
zoned.
like where I live, the zoning laws are pretty strict. They're definitely strict. Probably compared to here. That's at least how I understand it.
They're fucking uptight here too.
Are they?
Yep. Yeah, it's uncomfortably bad.
Oh yeah. I have to deal with the whole permits and all
Yeah.
inspections and all that shit. I cannot stand it.
You know, Jesse was telling me that he got a job to redo the front of one of the bars uptown.
Yeah.
And he had to go to a city council meeting last night so they could vote on whether or not he could do the job.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. I was
On his own property?
No, it's
Or-
for, like, somebody's
Oh,
paying him
okay.
to do it
I
on
see.
their
I thought
property.
you meant he owned it.
That's because the downtown
Historical
it's
district.
a historical
Yeah,
district.
fuck them. Fuck them.
You have to actually have plans designed, and they have to approve the design.
the historical committee has to.
Dude, that is the dumbest fucking thing ever. If I own a building and I want to have it fucking painted purple polka dots, I should be able to.
You can't buy a building downtown if you plan on doing that. The gun store downtown had a hell of a time getting approval
just to do the front.
when they hung that giant gun off the front
The
of the
giant
building.
revolver.
The building across the street went to city council, was like, we don't like that there's a gun pointed at us.
Oh my fucking god.
It's a sheet metal gun. It's
Yeah.
literally 2-dimension. But yeah, so they went and bitched, and the historical society went back to the owner and was like, yeah, you need to do something about that. He's like, yeah,
Just changing the canopy as you're walking into it.
Dude,
was a
fuck
battle
that.
for him to do
If
it.
I own the building, eat my schnutz. But I was like, that's so ridiculous. He's like, yeah. He's like, but now that they approved it, I'm
surprised he didn't say eat a dick.
right.
now
I was
that they
waiting for that.
He's saving it. He's saving it for the end.
now that they approved it, I think he said that they called him a certified contractor now to do stuff for the downtown. I was like, fuck them. It's fucking stupid. You can do it, but you get under our thumb if you're going to do it. You got to be a part of the people under the thumb.
Right, left, right boot, left boot.
I was doing one downtown for a business down there this past year. And I had somebody pull up my job site, and she's taking pictures of what I'm doing. Of course, I tell my boss, like, hey, there's some lady here taking pictures. And yeah, it was because of the whole downtown committee.
Fuck them. I would tell them that at a city council
It's
meeting.
like
too.
living in an HOA.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. This is bullshit. I own the property. I own the building. And you're going to tell me if I can, or you're going to vote on if I can or can't have somebody redo the front of it because it looks like shit? Fuck you.
So yeah, when you go to own property, be wary of where you buy.
Yeah, for the zoning laws.
Yeah.
And
I put a bedroom on. I went and got my permit. Did as I was told. Let them come in and inspect my electrical.
Which is still ridiculous.
But I also did a lot of stuff without a permit.
well, they didn't need to know.
Well, I followed their guidelines.
Yeah.
If it's under $500, you don't need a permit.
And that's material and labor.
Yeah.
It has to be under
Okay.
$500.
So I found somebody that would do it for under that dollar amount.
On a check.
No, in reality, I paid less than their $500 mark. While I was building the bedroom, I put a lean-to on the garage. Code inspector showed up here, throwing a fit that I was putting a lean-to on my garage, and I was like, I got less than $500 in it. I have $400 in materials and $100 in beer and burgers. Seriously, I'm under the threshold, and it's not a permanent structure, so I don't need a permit.
Yeah, you should be fine. What do you say to that?
He was not happy.
I mean, you should be fine. It shouldn't matter. If I have $10,000 to dump into a fucking bedroom addition, it shouldn't fucking matter.
Well, I had a permit for the bedroom. The bedroom cost me about $4,800.
You still shouldn't have to have a fucking permit.
I agree. It's my house.
That's it.
I'm paying for it.
Apparently not. Not really.
I had one of my buddies call me, and he asked me, he said, Don, have you ever heard anything about a demolition permit? I said, yeah, I know what a demolition permit is.
You have to have a permit to fucking knock something down, too?
So the zoning guy came to my house and gave me a bunch of crap because I don't have a demolition permit to tear my shed down.
To tear a fucking shed, dude. I'm gonna fucking crash out. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. To tear a fucking shed down?
Yeah,
It's not a fucking whole house.
right.
Dude, fuck.
I can
fuck
understand a
this.
demolition permit for a house, a building.
Right, because, there has to be some sort of, doing it safely so
It
nobody
has to
gets
go through
hurt.
an asbestos.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking, it isn't gonna land on your fucking neighbor's house or some dumb shit.
I understand the idea of a building permit, too. We want to make sure you have it wired safely so it won't catch on
Right.
fire. But what says I change an outlet and do that wrong,
And it burns the house
Yeah.
down.
and it burns the fucking house down?
Oh shit, I put two of the wires together on accident.
Right, yeah. It
I
got
was
hot
drunk when I did it.
It got hot when I was putting it back behind the plate, but oh well. It's I don't know. It's government is redundant and it's overly expensive.
So, say I buy the house I'm living in now,
Yeah.
and I want to take 20 grand and make it wider on my property, and I don't get a permit for it, and I just fucking do it. What do they do?
They will find the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And what,
Yeah. You will end up paying for the permit and the addition again.
and what if I don't pay the fine? Because fuck them.
They put a tax lien on your house and
So I don't own the house anymore then?
right.
Fuck them, dude. Fuck them.
And you know what? The best
God.
part is they'll auction it off and let somebody else live in it.
without having a permit? Bro, fuck them. Dude.
Just telling you, they'll auction that sumbitch off and let somebody else live in it if you don't pay the fee.
You gotta ask the king's permission.
Yep.
Fuck them.
Yep.
Dude.
So, Garrett,
Yeah.
what are your views on Second Amendment?
I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm very
How
pro
pro?
Second Amendment.
How pro?
I mean, I don't think.
Would
Should
you
we-
vote for that guy?
Should we abolish the NFL?
I don't know what else that guy believes in, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
I'm just saying, based
But-
on that card with his like.
What he
restrictions.
says
Hold
there-
on. We got to ask this question. You're for the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Do you have any guns?
No, I do not have any guns
Okay.
yet.
When you
we'll
get
have-
guns, don't put them on a boat.
yeah.
Don't let the gophers steal them. Don't let the gooses get them.
The fucking
Yeah,
gooses.
I'll have some my
No
own
snakes.
story when it
No
gets
snakes.
there. Yeah. Stay away from the snakes, the boats.
Don't take 'em on
the
road
geese.
trips.
Okay. This is a gun specific question. You know what a suppressor is, right?
Yeah.
You mean
Do
a
you
freedom
believe-
can?
Huh?
You mean a can of freedom?
Freedom. Do you think that for the sake of ear safety while hunting and shooting, suppressors should just be a legal item that you should go buy? That you should be able to just go
All
buy?
legal, not illegal.
A legal.
Okay, illegal.
A legal device that you should be able to go buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I know getting a suppressor right now is pretty difficult, right?
It's not.
Takes like 2
It-
weeks.
it-
You have to fill out a form and pay
takes
it.
longer
Okay.
than that. Your tax stamp is that's the long of it. So you go
Yeah.
you pay for the suppressor, you fill out the paperwork. The suppressors are really expensive because they are a federally controlled object.
Yeah.
Otherwise they'd be cheap as hell. You pay a $200 tax stamp that says you're allowed to own it. It takes right now, I think 6 months. At one point, it was up to 2 years.
Yeah. Because almost all my friends own guns, and I think it was 2 years ago. One of my friends, he bought this really nice gun, and he wanted a suppressor for it, and he said it was going to take like 2 years to get to him.
Yeah.
And somebody just told me a couple weeks ago that it's like 2 weeks now that they
It-
have the process really fucking dialed in.
Well, it'll fluctuate depending on who's in office.
So I should buy
and-
a suppressor now if I'm going to?
Well, historically, every time a Democrat comes into office, it bottlenecks the system. And then it finally opens up and it eases off. So we're at the end of that where now it's, 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go try to get one, plan on months. But and as you were saying, you said that you
Did he
got
buy
a bunch
it?
of friends with. Did he? Yeah, did he buy one?
Oh yeah, he bought one. Yeah.
Have you been around when he's shooting it?
I don't think that specific gun, but I've been around when he's shot another gun with a suppressor. I mean, he has a vault of guns. He shoots. He shoots trap and skeet. And then other than that, he likes to hunt. So he's just a gun collector. Every time I'm asking him, I'm like, hey, do you want to get on Xbox or something to play? He's like, I can't. I got to reload for like the next 4 hours. he's
A reloader too.
Yeah,
Sweet.
he's super, super into it. I got a few friends like that, but I'm thinking of one specifically.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not, so that everybody knows, because our 20 followers may not know. Unlike Hollywood, they're not super quiet, right?
Oh no, no, not like Hollywood or I guess video games too. They make them seem like you can barely hear the gun. That is not true. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the first shot is usually loud, but after that, it quiet down a little bit.
I have the same effect without a suppressor because my ears are going wah, 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 wah. I'm
that's
glad
why
to
I
hear
bought
your
those
I'm glad to
fucking
hear your
earmuffs.
Pro 2A. That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of Tulsi Gabbard?
I don't know how I really feel about her. I know she just switched to a Republican. A few week ago, something like that.
She was one of the few Democrats I actually would have voted for when she ran.
Oh, in 2020.
Yeah, yep. When she ran, She did a 3-hour episode of Rogan, and I listened to that, and I was like, I align with a lot of what this woman says.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was pro 2A really rung with me. I was like, oh, I might have to get me a lay.
Yeah, I don't really have any strong opinions on her one way or the other. I just don't know that much about her. So I'm not going to say like, oh, I hate her, or oh, I like her.
Right.
So I just don't know that much about her.
Well, she's on Trump's transition team.
Yeah, I do know that.
Yeah. Her, Musk, RFK Jr. What do you think of RFK Jr.?
I'm pretty divided on him. There's
Me
some
too.
things he says that I'm like, oh, okay, this guy actually seems like he knows what he's talking about, and then other things I'm like, what is he saying? Like, why is he saying this? And a lot I heard, because my grandma was an RK supporter.
Yeah.
But she hates Trump. So when he dropped out, she was like, he's a complete sellout. Like she was not happy about that. But I heard a lot of the stuff from her, and then just listening to him. Like, he was on Theo Vaughn's podcast, I think a year ago. It was actually a decent amount a time ago. So I mean, I'm iffy on him, like 50-50, I would say.
I liked him as a candidate as well this time around. He might have gotten my vote. There are a lot of things that I don't agree with him on.
Yeah.
But he might have gotten my vote.
I probably would have voted for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the third candidate that probably would have been better.
Yeah. Yeah. When he dropped out, and I'm gonna say conceded, and just said I'm going with Trump, I was like, oh, now I really like this guy, and he joined Trump's team, and Trump has given him an opportunity, but a restricted opportunity. So, like, Trump has said, I'm going to let him do this much, and that's it. Because he goes against some of the shit Trump wants to do.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, when he joined the race, I don't think it was when he joined the race, but it was a few months ago. Trump said that he was a left liberal plant to get Biden to win. This is when Biden was still in.
Yeah.
And then it was 3 months after that, he dropped out and endorsed Trump. I just saw the videos right by each other. It was him at the Trump rally, like his first time talking about Trump, and then the video on the left was Trump saying he's even more liberal than Joe Biden, and he's a Democrat plant to get Biden to win. So I thought that was funny.
Consider who Trump's running mate is, who said he was a never Trumper, and he talked shit about him.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
And even beyond that, too.
Yeah. People change their minds. They change their opinions. They change their positions.
I mean, I was a Trump guy, too. I was a Trump guy in 2020. And
really?
I changed from 2020 to now. And actually, I probably would, if I didn't know anything, no future context. In 2016, I would vote for Trump over Hillary, just from what he was saying back then.
Well, Trump over Hillary was kind of an easy one.
Yeah, well, I mean, the popular vote had Hillary, so a lot of people didn't think so. But I would have voted for him.
Most people are disconnected. They get all their information 2 days before Election Day.
Yeah, a lot of people do, for sure.
And how many people do you know that listen to multiple sources of information and then decide, versus they listen to 2 cable channels?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not a lot. not as many as there should be. And we can have talks back and forth, whichever media you listen to, whatever. But my friends,
I listen to a lot.
My friends mainly listen to right-leaning media, and I mean, we grew up in a Republican. A lot of people were Republicans where we grew up, or still are. So a lot of what they say is, it's definitely what Twitter or TikTok feeds them, because the algorithm is so good now. It just feeds you what you want to see or what you want to hear. And I can definitely tell when they're saying something and it's spun in a different way a right-leaning way rather than a left-leaning way or in the middle.
Right.
I try to look at everything. I try to look at left, in the middle, right. I try to look at everything. I try not to have my ideology bound to one, to like a left-leaning ideology or right-leaning or in the center. I try to be very.
I don't even though I seem to lean right.
Yeah.
I'm centrist with a right lean. I don't listen to Fox News.
No.
Can't stand it. I can't stand
That's
it.
how I feel about all the legacy media. I don't like listening to them at all.
The only time I hear anything from Fox or MSNBC, CBS, NBC is if it's a soundbite.
Yeah. Which even then I take that for granted because it's like it's out of context.
It's grain of salt. Like it is what it is. They're gonna take a soundbite. They're gonna misuse it, which is usually the case. Whether right candidate, left candidate, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know,
And
depending
both
on
sides.
depending on the outlet, they're going to misuse that quote. I get most of my news from X in long form, not sound bites, not snippet articles. That way I get to hear full context. And I wish more people would take the time to investigate before they go and cast a vote.
I do too. I think I saw a stat that said 20% of people are high IQ voters. So they're going out to look for information on both candidates. They know who their senators are. They're looking to vote one way or the other for their senator. They know their representatives.
Right.
They know about their local elections. Like those people, that's only 20% of the electorate.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, 80%, at least from the stat that I saw, is based basically off of vibes. Like who has the best vibes? Yeah,
commercials
ads
and stuff that ends up in their mailbox.
Yeah, that's why they throw so much money at ads, especially 3 weeks to now, or 3 weeks ago to now. I mean, that's all you see are ads on TV, on YouTube, on anything. That's all it
mailbox
is.
is full of that crap every day.
I made the joke earlier that I was going to send all these people a bill for my refuse because I've had to throw so much crap away for the last 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my texts. Like that's all my messages are right now. It's just vote for Sherrod Brown, vote for Derek Marin, vote for Marcy Kaptur, vote for anybody. I'm like,
I've only gotten one political text, and they didn't like my reply at all, and I haven't gotten one since.
Every time I never reply. I don't hit the stop texting me or something. I just don't reply. So maybe I should say stop texting. But I get them all the time, and I don't know why because I never interact. I've only voted once. I've only voted in one election, so I'm like,
they go straight to my spam.
Yeah,
I get a notice spam mail or something.
Too bad it's not real spam because you could eat that when the economy goes to shit in a week.
Right.
Dude, I've never had spam, but I saw something today that makes me want to try it.
I've never had
spam. Take fucking spam and you grate it, and then you grate potatoes and grate cheese and fucking make them into hash browns and air fry that shit. That looked fucking delicious.
You are the fat kid in the room.
I've never had spam, but I would try spam like that.
I'm going to buy you a can of spam.
You better fucking make it.
You know what? I'm going to buy 2 because I'll do it the way you just described, and then I'll cook it the way that I had it as a kid, which also is really good. But
I'm down.
You're going to need to drink a lot of water and get some blood pressure medication.
Yeah, no shit.
Is this why your dick doesn't work? Because of spam? Maybe you should sue them.
It's just, it'll make your blood pressure go through the roof because it's so full of sodium.
But I've never had spam either. So
that's how you preserve meat, though. If you're going to can meat that's going to last 25 years, you add a bunch of salt.
Spam will last 25 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any spam? Fuck! Do you have any spam from when you were a kid?
I'm sure my mom does.
You should see if we could have a can.
Yo, Ma, if you're listening to this, I need a can of Spam.
An old can of Spam, though.
An old can of Spam. Oh, and a box of Twinkies while you're at it.
I don't like Twinkies.
I love Twinkies.
I fucking don't like Twinkies.
Twinkies were good.
I will
good.
say, though, I did see something. It was like the video after that, or maybe 2 videos after that on YouTube. That was somebody taking a Twinkie and they put a fucking Kit Kat inside of it and air fried it. I would probably be down with that.
That sounds like a white woman with a baby and no daddy.
Oh God! Definitely not letting her listen to this podcast.
Hey, I was doing good up till then.
1000%.
I was kind of blown away tonight. Like, I've been the quiet one, or I'm always the quiet one, and now Colton's been very
I've been
quiet
trying
tonight.
not to throw up all night. I got the fucking heartburn to go away.
Stop looking in the mirror.
I got the heartburn to
sounded
go
like
away.
that guy.
But fucking, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And every time I fucking sneeze, it feels like it's like trying to come up, and I'm like, no.
So maybe instead of eating 2 bowls, you eat 1 bowl. And
Fuck off.
I'll try to be a less good chef next time, so you don't eat so much.
He's conflicted about that.
No, I'm still trying not to throw up. Alright, we're about out of time. You got any other
Are we really? Holy shit.
It's been an hour.
it's been almost.
Damn.
I think we got like 5 minutes. I was letting you know early though, because I didn't know if you had any other like deep talking points.
What do you got for me, Garrett?
I mean, I guess we can talk about who you think's going to win, how the election's looking right now on Trump's side versus Kamala, or vice versa. I don't know if you follow any of the polling or early voting or anything like that. Or
Polymarket's got Trump by...
they have him
Polling?
like 67%.
Yeah,
Pauline want a cracker?
yeah. Like Polymarket, it's a wagers website.
Dude, my boss the other day was like, man, I wish I could vote on the fucking election. So I Googled it. Apparently, on all of the fucking apps that you can, like, sports bet, as long as you're not in the U.S., you can bet on who's going to fucking win the election. He's like, dude, I'm just going to go to fucking Canada for a day. He's like, I'm just going to take one of these weekends and go to Canada, fucking vote on the election.
Yeah, I've been loosely following it on Polymarket because there's a guy on YouTube that does like man on the street kind of thing.
Yeah, where he just interviews them and asks them.
He goes different big city to big city, and he uses Polymarket as his like base, and then he interviews people, and it's pretty close to what Polymarket's got. Who do I think is going to win? You're not going to like my answer.
Well,
That's why I
if
was
it's realistic,
No, that's why I was giggling,
Yeah, I know.
because I know what he's thinking.
I probably knew, but I mean, I'd like to hear why.
I think Cheeto King's going to win, but I think the not black lady is going to be nominated president.
Why do you think that?
The same way that Joe Biden got nominated president.
Yeah. I really do believe the last election was stolen, and I think they've got stuff in place to make this one the same deal.
Which is why I was going to lose my shit listening to the fucking news earlier. When, ooh, fucking outside other governments are trying to fucking hack to make fucking Trump win. Like, fuck off, dude.
When under the last fucking election, when they were like 51 intelligence agencies have decided that the Hunter laptop is fake, turns out to be absolutely fucking true. The first election, Donald Trump Russian collusion bullshit, turned out to be absolutely fucking false.
Well, it's just like women that cheat. They're like, oh yeah, they're trying to make Trump win.
It's called projection.
It's like
We're
women
doing
cheating.
what you say what we're telling you you're doing.
Right. Yeah,
I-
it's the same as
They
that.
they
yeah.
after January 6th they supposedly passed a rule or a law that you can't not certify election. But the side that passed the law where you can't not certify an election stands to win this time. So they could go, we're just not going to follow that law.
I think I have faith in our checks and balances. I mean, I don't believe
I
the
did
election
too
was
when I
stolen.
was
I don't
your age.
believe the election
I
was
wish
stolen.
I could have faith.
I had faith in this stuff when I was your age too.
I mean, we're not going to agree here, but
We might.
how I was I don't believe the election was stolen, so that's where I'm starting my basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was a Trump supporter, that's actually what got me out of being a Trump supporter. Was his claim that the election was stolen on January 6th. When that happened, I was like, yeah, this looks pretty bad. And then, but I didn't really know what happened. I was like, he probably didn't have that much to do with it. And I don't think he sent rioters to riot on the Capitol. I don't think he was telling rioters to do that.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't think he was like, hey, go do this. But with the certifying the votes part, he was telling Mike Pence all the way up till January 6th to not certify the election, to not certify the votes for
Where do you get
Biden.
that part?
That was in the indictment on Trump.
No.
It's all in.
Was it transcribed?
Yeah, it's all in court documents.
Okay. I'll have to look at that because I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So that's actually because even earlier this year, I was still like, hey, I'm voting for Trump. Even earlier this year. And once the election got closer and closer, it was around May time, June, somewhere around there. I was like, hey, I should actually look into a lot more stuff because of how divided I was on Trump when he exited office. So I started looking into it with all the January 6th stuff, and all I really heard about it before I looked into it was he said with peace. He said protest with peace, something like that.
Yeah.
He tweeted that out. But all the other stuff, I mean, that's just him on the outside. But all the other stuff that actually got found out was he was trying to find votes in Georgia, I believe it was 11,000 votes. I mean, they even got him saying that on a phone call.
I heard that call,
Yeah.
and he didn't tell the guy to find me those votes. He said something's up, and I want to know what happened.
Yeah, but that's finding. So he basically said find 11,000 votes, though. That's because he thought
No, he was saying
thought something
I
was
want
up.
clarification. In my opinion,
Yeah.
in my mind, I hear I want clarification. There's missing votes, and I want to know where they are. So, give me clarification.
And well, in my mind, when I read all this stuff about it, like court documents isn't.
Are
like,
you reading it
any
or are
news-
you listening to it? Because I
No,
listen.
listening. No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, listening. No.
I listen to the
Yeah.
the phone calls. That's not you need to find me those votes. That's something's wrong. Something's off.
Well, I guess with the context of what was in, like talking to Mike Pence all the way up to the election and being like, hey,
Okay.
and he was tweeting about Mike Pence all the way up till January 6th. He
Yeah.
was like, if Mike Pence does the right thing, we will be president again. We will make America great again. All that stuff. And obviously it happened on January 6th and it happened on the 5th or the 7th because that's when they were certifying the votes.
Right.
So he was knowingly doing this. It didn't just happen on a random day. It happened on January 6th. And I guess, I mean, just all that stuff with Mike Pence and him, I think he was actually projecting on the Democrats saying that they stole the election because he knew people would believe it. I mean, that's how he started in politics. I mean, everybody knows this about Trump. He lies, he lies, he lies. He even said this in his book. He tries not to fold. And him not folding is him not accepting defeat. And he would see that as a defeat. I just reading what I've read about Trump in his autobiography. That's just what I get from the guy. And also, there hasn't been any evidence in court, especially in federal court, that the election was stolen, even from Trump-appointed judges. And he even, I think this was last year or 2 years ago, he hired an election like voter fraud specialist or something to say that the election was stolen, to figure out evidence that it was stolen. And he even figured out that it wasn't stolen and it was a fair and free election. but that never gets talked about. So just all the stuff I've seen.
Oh, it does get talked about.
The election getting
it.
stolen stuff talks about, but I'm just talking about the guy that Trump hired to be like, hey, I want you to find evidence that this was stolen from me. He couldn't even find evidence. So I just don't believe it was stolen. And the reason I say I have faith in our government, well, not in our government, but in the three branches, the checks and balances, is because I do believe that Trump was trying. I don't think he would have become president again, but I do believe he was trying to become president, even though he lost fairly, and our checks and balances didn't let that happen. So that's why I, in my opinion, do have faith in the checks and balances. So even if that happened on the other side, which I would totally, if Kamala did that, I don't even know what I would do. I would hate both of them.
I would like to have you back.
I was just gonna say we're just gonna have to have him back because we're
after
like
the election,
halfway through what we like actually wanted.
After the election, would you be willing to come back?
Yeah,
because there's a lot that, especially with what you.
Yeah, said. I know. I just said a lot. And
some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. After the election, I would love to have you back on. I'm so glad you came tonight. I'm so glad you came tonight. This has been such a cool and calm discussion.
Yeah.
Nobody's attacking anybody. Nobody's mad.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't really have anything else to throw out other than Trump 2024.
Hey, I still got the Trump 2020 hat in my car, so.
Yeah, we're like 5 minutes over.
All right.
Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you didn't, eat a dick.
Fact check me if you need to, because I'm drunk a lot, so I'm wrong a lot. Hey, I didn't even drink 2 full drinks this time.
No, you didn't.
But you
filthy whore.
I'm not a filthy whore.
Garrett, I hope you can become a continued contributor on this podcast.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time, so I think I will be, especially when something as big as the election is going on. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think that's it.
You say I don't have anything else.
All right. Later, all.
See y'all.
See ya.